Dude, Antonio Brown, bro.
AB, call
What
God.
the hell?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Shrikar Rajendran.
I'm Jack Smith.
And I'm Anish Gupta.
Antonio Brown. Oh, God, number 84. He's at it again. He's once again announced that he is not returning to football. He's going to retire. He sent out a series of tweets on yesterday, I believe, Monday, for anyone watching. And you know, will he play again? It's yet to be seen. He spent 9 of his 10 seasons with the Steelers. I mean, he had one game with the Pats, which is pretty forgotten. But, I mean, if Brown never steps foot on a field again, will he get into the Hall of Fame? And just for your guys' reference, he has 841 career receptions for 11,261 receiving yards and 75 receiving touchdowns. He ranks 28th in career receptions and 35 in career receiving yards. Is that resume good enough to get him into the Hall of Fame? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe to us. Like the video too. Hit the bell so you're notified of future episodes. But let's get right into it. I'm excited. Anish, I'm going to pass it off to you first. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, first off, we're recording this July 21st. This was one crazy day, man. I was just doing like a session with Princeton, and I get on live with the Deebo Samuel. You guys know how much I love him. My favorite player, my idol. And then 2 hours later, I get a call from Jack saying, dude, Antonio Brown just reposted our story. So, AB, if you're somehow watching this, man, we appreciate you for that. I'm never going to say anything bad about this guy again. This dude.
No, wow.
I'm going to start it off now. Like, the production speaks for itself. I mean, he's broken countless records. He's led the league in countless things. He's led the league in receptions twice, receiving yards, touchdowns. I mean, this dude, and as a Browns fan, I know what he's done to my team. This dude is a bona fide, just superstar. I still remember the Ravens game. I don't know if you guys know this, but Steelers-Ravens, it was they were tied, I believe. They needed Antonio Brown to score. They decided not to kick a field goal. The dude literally pushes over 2 guys and scores, reaches out with one hand. That's probably my favorite play from this dude. And just his sideline ability, his ability on the sidelines is just it's no one can match it. I mean,
it's the toe tap.
Exactly. He was just incredible. I mean, Big Ben could put that thing anywhere, back shoulder, over the top, and he will get it. And just look at his stats, right? Like, I think, Shrikar, you brought it up, but I'm also going to look at his accolades. I think 7 Pro Bowls that competes with some of the best. Terrell Owens, 6-time Pro Bowler. Julio Jones has 7 Pro Bowls, including last year. Randy Moss around the same. Calvin Johnson, 6-time Pro Bowler. But also, what for me that matters is the All-Pro teams, because that year you were the best receiver in the entire NFL. That's what first team All-Pro, basically that's the award that you get. And he has it 4 times.
In a row.
Put it into perspective, Julio Jones has 2, okay? And I've seen this debate actually a couple times. When they were in their primes, perfectly healthy and everything like that, who would you take? I'm taking Antonio Brown, and even though we reposted it, I said this before, I'm taking Antonio Brown because what I've seen on the field, I get everything. I get speed, right? I get the sideline ability. He has the clutch factor. In every playoff game he's played, literally, I can't tell you one time where Antonio Brown let the team down. I can't. He has over 100 yards in at least 6 of them, I believe, and at least 1 touchdown in a majority of them. He has produced for them, right? And when we look at the Hall of Fame, obviously none of us are Hall of Famers. We can't really give you most of the criteria, but I think when I look at it,
I am in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jack Smith, Hall of Famer. But I think, I'll kind of pass, you guys can kind of attest to this. When I look at the Hall of Fame, right, especially for a receiver, I think production has to be into account. The All-Pro teams definitely matter for me. I think that's the biggest accolade that a receiver can have. And I think just where were you in terms of maybe Offensive Player of the Year rankings? And I know Antonio Brown was second, top 3 in a lot of those years.
He was always up there.
Exactly, right? But I think what makes him qualified, right, were teams, when you mention the Steelers' history or when you mention this past decade, right? And I think that is the biggest factor for me in the Hall of Fame because that's what puts Eli in for me. When you mention these last 10 years, can you go with these past 10 years without mentioning Antonio Brown?
No, you can't.
No, you can't. And it's not only that, it's not even that he had like one historic run. he was the consistent producer,
Most consistent wide
top
receiver of the past decade.
Exactly.
I would argue that.
And here's the thing. When we look at the top 3 receiver argument, right, up until 2019, it was always Antonio Brown, Julio fighting for one. But I'd say majority gave it to Antonio Brown. I did too at the time. So from, I would say, 2013 to 2019, right? And I think it was – so from 2013, 2015, it was Calvin, AB, Julio. And Calvin retires, obviously. Short-lived career. I think he's going to make it as well. But, yeah, so from 2015 to 2019, it was AB, Julio, Odell kind of stepped in there. Hopkins stepped in there. But those two were always at it. And out of the two, I'm taking Antonio Brown. So I think with those stats, with what he was able to do for the Steelers organization, because when he was fully healthy, full games, and he played consistently, the Steelers were always first or second in the AFC North and always were a contender in the AFC. So that is enough for me to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to get this out of the way before getting into this. Just having Antonio Brown repost our stuff on Instagram is pretty damn awesome. For 3 kids living in San Jose, putting this stuff up, lots of hard work into it. It's great to see it kind of pay off, get on the radar of Antonio Brown. But I was going to say he would be a Hall of Famer despite this, and I'm going to continue with that now. I mean, 4 straight first-team All-Pros. I think he went from 2011 to 2017 or 18, over 1,100 yards except for one season. And most
except
of them
were
above
and he didn't play the
1,300.
full year.
Yeah, and many years with over 10 touchdowns. And just the 4 All-Pro teams in a row it's just absolutely insane. And I believe he was the best receiver of the past decade. People can bring up Julio. I think it's close, but I think I'll give it to Antonio Brown. And just what he did for that Steelers franchise, being consistent every single year, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. I have another. Oh, my bad. I have another question for you guys. Do you think he's a first ballot, or will this play out sort of like with T.O., where you don't get in until your 3rd year of eligibility, I'm pretty sure? So do you think he's first ballot?
Look, I think it's close. Really is, because we've seen guys like Charles Woodson not make it first ballot. And Charles Woodson is damn near at the top of his position, I think, all time. Like he has a defensive player of the year and a Heisman. It's pretty impressive. Yep. And that didn't even make it. So I'd like to, for me at least, I believe the Football Hall of Fame is getting a bit softer. I think players are getting in that I wouldn't think would make it. But also put it into perspective. I believe there's only around 270 players, right? And the rest are owners and coaches. 270 players out of the thousands that have played. So it is still restrictive. It is still hard to get in. For example, I don't think Ocho Cinco will make it. That's one of the guys I think maybe won't. I mean, there are some guys, maybe unless if the Hall gets a little bit easier. But as of right now, I'm not putting him in. Phillip Rivers, 8-time Pro Bowler. I'm not putting him in. There are guys that, yes, they have produced consistently. But would I give him the nod? For example, Matt Ryan has an MVP. If he were to retire today, I don't think I give him the nod. It's simple as that. Hall of Fame has certain criteria for each position, and I'm granting. So for the receiver position, right, it's not the rings. That I don't think that should be a factor. But stats do matter, and longevity does matter, and Antonio Brown definitely had that. He's 32 right now, but, I mean, I got 8 of 9 or 9 years of first best receiver in the NFL production. I got 9 years of that. That's enough for me. With Ocho Cinco, it was always arguable. Was he the best? Was he really top one? Because there was Randy, right? There was T.O. I mean, was Chad Ocho Cinco? No, right? It goes the same. I think Julio will also get in. I think Julio should. I think he's still got many years ahead of him as well. But it's just those two, right? Antonio Brown, I got first ballot production. I got first ballot production for a long period of time. So he has the stats, right? Yes, off-the-field issues do tend to affect your Hall of Fame resume. It does. It unfortunately does. But eventually T.O. got in. I think Antonio Brown in a couple years will. It just depends on when he retires and how this whole thing shapes out. But, I mean, you saw it. Literally just one game with the Patriots, and he torched the Miami secondary for a touchdown. He didn't even play the full game. He got limited snaps. He had 50 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this dude, when he's on the field, touchdown machine, reception magnet. It's when he's not on the field, it's clear. The only thing I may say, and honestly, we saw it with Juju Smith-Schuster, I thought he had a chance to be the number one. With that, yes, Big Ben was not there, but still, I would say Antonio Brown was a big part of Juju Smith-Schuster's uprising. And I know, Jack, you're a USC fan, so I know you like him. Would you agree with me? I think Antonio Brown was a great part of it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think up until, a couple of years ago, he was a really good team player. like he was there for the team when they needed him. He was fully healthy. He was always at ease with teammates. Yes, we're seeing a feud with Big Ben now. So yeah, okay, we'll acknowledge that. But I think as of from those years I got from him when he was the best, he was the best. And I'll throw this at you guys. Do you think he's top 10 all time?
I'd say he's top 15.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it, try and formulate a top 10. Maybe that's something we'll do in a future episode. Let us know if you'd like to see that. But I mean, I think he's definitely top 20. And whether
I think he's
easily.
definitely top 15.
I'd say he's top
15. It'd be interesting to see if he gets into the top 10. I'd have to look into it, I think, a little bit more.
But see,
his peak was just insane.
So top 15 receivers in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Hell yes. If you were top 15, I will put you in, right? And we've seen the longevity factor carry out. Like, I think Larry Fitzgerald will get in. And I think longevity was his biggest help, right? So I think, Antonio Brown has some factor of it. Obviously, Julio will probably have more because I think that's the guy he's been compared to his entire career. And honestly, though, but if I take their games, if I one game and I could take one of the two as my number one receiver, I'm taking Antonio Brown.
No, without a doubt, especially in a playoff game.
Yeah.
No question.
So
well, I wouldn't say. I mean, playoff game, Julio has performed. Like, you've seen him in. He torched the Packers in the conference championship. He was there in the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't say guarantee for a playoff game, but just in any game in general, I think Antonio Brown's going to give me more consistent production throughout the game. I think I can throw him any route possible. I can even put him on a jet sweep, and we're not even acknowledging his punt return ability. This dude was a nasty returner.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on that.
We didn't even acknowledge that. That's like he was really good. When he was young. I believe he had a couple touchdowns as well as rookie year in the NFL from punt returns. So just a great all-around player. He gets my nod. I think he's done enough for me. And it's not even a question of enough. He's done enough as a first ballot to get in. I think he won't get in first ballot, but he's done first ballot production, if you guys kind of catch my drift.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to just quickly go off to another player that's a little bit similar as Luke Kuechly. I mean, just the production when he's playing, it's insane, but he has retired a little bit early. Do you see the same thing? Just quick, yes or no?
Strigar, you want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you a yes, no question, for Luke Kuechly. As a defensive player,
I'd also say yes.
And here's the thing. I compare Luke Kuechly a lot to Patrick Willis. I think both of them will get it. I think it's really close, but I think in a couple years they will. They're really similar. And I know a lot of Niner fans will take Patrick Willis. It's close for me. I might take Kuechly just because I think he was a better leader and a better in pass coverage. It's close. I don't. And also, if you look it up, whoever's watching this, look at their stats. The stats are the same. Their accolades are literally identical. 7 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pros. Except Kuechly has a Defensive Player of the Year, and I think that gives me the nod because he was regarded as the best defensive player in that season.
As a middle linebacker,
as a linebacker, yeah.
As a linebacker, and not only that, Patrick Willis also had Navarro Bowman to help him out, who made a couple All-Pros as well, first team. So that also helps his case. Kuechly didn't really have that. I mean, Thomas Davis was there, but I'm not going to put him on Navarro Bowman's level. So I think that's a good comparison, Jack. I just think as a receiver standpoint, right, they look at longevity. They look at how you approach the game, how you impacted it. And, I mean, just receivers always been the diva position. So, I mean, Randy Moss had a lot of problems with teams, and people fail to acknowledge this. I've argued T.O. over Randy Moss at times. I don't know if I would give him the nod. I think it's 2 and 3. I think Randy is above him, but Randy has had his off-the-field issues, especially with the Raiders and was it the Vikings? Sometimes with the Vikings, I know he had it. Like, he wasn't a cancer to the team, but, I wouldn't say he made them exponentially better. I wouldn't even say that.
Pre-draft process problems, too.
Yeah, good point. T.O., obviously, he had problems everywhere he went, but he still produced. Same thing with Antonio Brown. I mean, he didn't even have problems the years he was going crazy. He's only having them now in the back half of his career. So, when he was at his prime, I didn't get anything wrong with him. No.
I mean, it's just the question of, does 1 year of a little bit of the off-the-field issues and the stuff he's been going through, does that wipe away the 9-10 years of ridiculous production that he had in his Steelers uniform?
And I don't think it does.
I don't either.
It's going to be tough, just how they view it, because this is a very interesting case. Because, it's only 1 year, right? But, yeah, I'm going to say no. I think he gets in.
Yeah, so I think that we've kind of come to a verdict. Antonio Brown should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. So, Shrikar, why don't you hit us with that outro now?
But let us know what you guys think. We want to hear your perspective on this. Go ahead and go down to the comments. Let us know your take, your thoughts on this whole situation. Will
Where does he
Antonio
rank
Brown
all
make the
time?
Hall of Fame?
Maybe comment
Where
that.
does he rank all time? That's another sub question that we want to hear from you guys. But we want to thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified of future episodes. Go ahead and follow the socials too and our website. Both of those are going to be in the description. But we want to thank you guys for watching this video. Call God. We love you, AB. We'll see you next time.